So when it comes to pistol sights, what do you prefer? The tried and true iron sights, this one has tritium, or a pistol red dot? I'm a little bit new to the red dot game, but man, it really makes it quick and easy. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Pistols on red dots. I'm a little bit new to the whole thing. Are they worth it or are they not? They do add, an extra component of cost to your pistol. That's for sure. So in this video, I'd like to try to answer that question with my new limited experience with pistols with red dots. This is the only one that I have with a red dot, my M&P 2.0 that I got direct milled and put the Holosun on. All my other pistols have your standard traditional iron sights. And I've learned a lot about this system since getting it, and I want to let you guys know what I've learned, and hopefully it can be applicable to you and you can gain some knowledge from this video. But first, I'd really like to thank everyone that subscribed, liked, commented, or shared these videos. I really do appreciate you guys, and especially those that have clicked on my Amazon affiliate link and purchased something or have joined Patreon. I am extremely grateful. So, as much as I love a red dot, you need to be proficient with iron sights, no matter what. So this right here, this is my Ruger Security 9 Pro. It has your standard traditional iron sights. These ones just happen to be a little bit upgraded. They are tritium night sights. And I thought this would be a good pistol to use for comparison purposes for this video because it has fairly decent sights on it, and because it's a fairly similar pistol to what I have my red dot on, being that it's a 9mm, kind of similar in size. This is more what you would consider a compact with a 15 round capacity and a 4-inch barrel. Whereas my M&P 2.0 is a full size with a 4 1/4 inch barrel and a 17 round capacity. But these are the two pistols I have that are the most similar, and so I thought I'd use them for comparison. Now, with iron sights, that's what I have the most experience with, and that's what I feel like everyone should learn how to shoot with iron sights. You need to have those basics down. Now, the thing with iron sights is everyone tells you to focus on your front sight. And with a little bit of training yourself, you can do that very effectively with both eyes open, because you do want to be able to have your peripheral vision, have situational awareness. But the way that your eyes work, you can only truly focus on one plane of distance or of sight at a time. So if you're focused on your front sight, your target is going to be a little bit blurry, and your rear sight is going to be a little bit blurry. So you have to train your eyes to do that. And when it comes to, fast target acquisition and things like that, thinking quickly in the moment, it does take a lot of experience, a lot of rounds downrange, a lot of dry fire practice at home to train your muscle memory to present the same way every time, and to train your eyes and your brain to be able to present out, see that front sight between your rear sights and on target, and be able to get that shot off effectively and accurately. And it's absolutely doable. I know I'm flagging myself with this, but it is clear. All the guns in all my videos are cleared beforehand, so there's nothing dangerous about it, but still, 4 rules of gun safety: never point at something you don't wish to destroy, and don't, whatever. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so you want your front sight between the rear sights, you target beyond that. That's how you use your iron sights. And it's something that's very important to know. Even on rifles, my AK only has iron sights, and I don't plan on using an optic on that. But I can shoot it very effectively with those iron sights. Now, mind you, the ARs with the red dots, it's a little bit easier and quicker to be precise and just to get on target faster. And so with that in mind, that's why I decided to put a red dot on one of my pistols. So the great thing about a red dot is instead of having to focus on 3 planes on, your front sight, your rear sight, and then on the target, and, having the front sight clear and the rear sight and the target a little blurry, you can be threat focused or target focused, where really all you have to pay attention to is your target and make sure that dot lays on it, and you'll be super accurate. And in that way, you can also be faster. So this is my Smith Wesson M&P 2.0. It did not come as an optic ready pistol. I had to send the slide off to a company called NC Engravers in North Carolina. They cut it for this red dot specifically. This is a Holosun Hs 407K, which is a red dot designed more for a concealed carry size pistol, but I really wanted to be able to keep my stock iron sights and be able to co-witness them. And with this dot, they're able to mill it in front of your rear iron sight so you don't lose that dovetail. And the optic sits low enough in your slide that you can still co-witness those sights perfectly easily through the red dot. I'm going to see if I could show that here on camera. If you can see the dot there and you can see the sights, you can see that it co-witnesses very well. So that gives you 2 pros, basically. So for one thing, if by any chance your optic ever goes down, which, modern optics, especially Holosuns, they're very, very rugged instruments. And there's a very small chance that you'll ever have a problem with them, especially as far as battery life being like 50,000 hours or around 5 years on a medium setting. And with the shake awake technology, it actually shuts itself off after a period of time of inactivity, turns on immediately as soon as you move the gun. So your batteries last a very, very long time. But it is an electronic instrument. And there always is that small chance that something electronic could possibly go down, could malfunction, could break, your glass could break. There are things that could happen. Something could get in front of your emitter there, in which case you'd have no dot on your screen. So that is a big reason to be able to co-witness your iron sights. Another one too, in learning how to shoot with my optic, the iron sights were very helpful. As I've gotten better and better at it, I need them less and less. But when I first started, to be able to acquire that dot in the window, it was very helpful to present the same way I would with an iron sight gun, watch my front sight come down in between my rear sight, and as long as my optic was zeroed correctly, the dot would come down right above that front sight. And so that really helped me get over that hump that a lot of people find themselves in when they first start shooting red dots on pistols, of not being able to find the dot in the window. In fact, I went out shooting with a friend of mine this morning, and every time he picked up this pistol, he said he couldn't find the dot. And I understand where he's coming from, because it took me a little bit of practice and training and dry fire and putting rounds down range to be able to get fast and consistent at finding that dot. And dry fire is very important when it comes to that. I spend a lot of time at home doing dry fire practice, specifically with this pistol, and specifically since I got the red dot put on it, for that reason, because red dots give you certain advantages. And one of them being speed, is that you should be able to pick up your dot much quicker than it would take you to do what I was talking about with the iron sights, where you have to line up your front sight within your rear sight on the target and, train your brain to focus that way. With a red dot, you can be target focused or threat focused, meaning that all you have to really focus on is what you're aiming to shoot at. And as long as your red dot overlays on top of that target and it's zeroed, you pull the trigger straight back and don't, move it in any direction, your shot will be accurate and it will be on target. And so that's a big benefit of having a red dot. But if you can't find the dot, you've lost all that benefit and you've slowed yourself down. And so what's the point? And so you do need to dry fire practice and spend a lot of time at the range to get used to a red dot, because there is a bit of a learning curve. But once you do get used to it, oh man, it makes a difference. It really is nice and easy. When you aim at a target and you just see your dot on the target, as long as your trigger pull is, straight to the rear and consistent, you're going to hit that target every time. And, nobody's a perfect shooter. I am by far from a perfect shooter. But I have gotten very good at this red dot. And I am a huge, huge fan. So I want to see if we can do this with the camera. Here you see the iron sight gun. And that's how you line up your sights. Front sight within your rear sight, target beyond that. And it's definitely very doable. People have been doing it for hundreds of years, and it's effective and it works. Now the red dot, the nice thing about that is you don't really have to line up those sights. Now it is helpful to do it, but if you see the dot now, it's a 6 MOA dot, which is kind of a big red dot, but it's made for, fast target acquisition. And you can see how it is perfectly co-witnessed with my iron sights. You see how it's directly above the front sight when the front sight is between the rear sights? That is the way it should be. Now, when you do go to zero your optic, you don't have to slave it to your iron sights. You want to just zero the red dot on where your point of aim and your point of impact become the same thing. It just happened to be with my iron sights set up correctly that did co-witness perfectly with my iron sights. Now, a good way to do this is with like a laser bore scope or whatever. Anyway, put the laser inside your barrel. It puts a laser out and you line your red dot up with that. Get your windage and elevation correctly, then go to the range and make the small adjustments accordingly until it is perfectly accurate. And that's how I zeroed this and how I zero most of my red dots. It just makes it easier because once you get to the range, you don't have to do any huge adjustments. Another way you could do that, though, is to initially slave the dot to the iron sights, then get to the range, make those small adjustments as well. Both a laser bore sight being as cheap as they are, I find that it just makes sense to get one. It makes the zeroing process that much easier. But you can see with this how easy your sight picture is to acquire. When you're shooting with both eyes open, this basically disappears within your vision. All you see is your target and your periphery, and that dot just overlays on top of it, and it just makes it so quick and easy to shoot accurately. Now, the big issue a lot of people have is, like I said, finding that dot. But if you present correctly, we'll see if I could do this with the camera here. As long as you present out correctly, that red dot should just kind of fall from the sky within your window every single time. As your pistol comes out, red dot falls from the sky right into the middle of your window. As long as that's on target, you will hit your target. So for those of you thinking about putting a red dot on a pistol, if you haven't before, if you're like me, who has run iron sights for a long time, I believe it is worth it. Now, it's going to cost you some money. This is about as cheap or affordable as you can go and still get a quality optic. There's a Holosun, it's about 130 bucks. 230 bucks, excuse me. 230 bucks. And it goes up from there. If you're going to go with something like a Trijicon RMR, you're maybe between 400 and 500 bucks. For the more expensive Holosun options, if you have different reticles and things, or a green dot versus a red, you're looking closer to $300 to $400. And there are a lot of other ones in between. I recommend not going with the super cheap ones. You know, you find a Red Dot for 120 bucks, you're gonna get what you pay for, and it's not gonna be nearly as rugged. I would advise against getting one with a polymer frame. You know, this is a 7075 26 aluminum, and it's very rugged. You can see how thick that is. You want one that's gonna last, just in case you have to, you know, your pistol falls or you have to rack the slide off of something. You want something that is gonna be solid. I've done this a zillion times. It's held zero, hasn't given me any problems. Anything in firearms, especially something that is gonna be a weapon for personal self-defense, home defense, anything like that, you wanna make sure it's something that's quality, that's gonna last and serve you for a really long time. Holosun, I think, is a great option for that. I think Trijicon RMR is probably the best option. You do have a couple of things that the Holosun has that I like that the RMR doesn't, including the side battery plate that comes out, so you don't have to remove your optic to change the battery and then re-zero it. That's a really nice feature. But most Holosun optics will fit a Trijicon RMR footprint, which is the most standard optic cut from the factory these days. Otherwise, you can do like what I did and mill your slide directly. That is going to be another added cost. It was, I think, about 150 bucks to mill the optic cut and the Cerakote. Besides that, I had to send my slide off. And if you've been watching my previous videos, you know that the Postal Service lost my slide, and I had to fight with them for months to get them to pay me the insurance that I'd paid for on the slide when I sent it. Eventually they did, but that's just another thing to keep in mind. If you don't have an optic ready gun, you will have to send your slide off to get it milled in order to put a Red Dot on it. But I have to say, I am extremely happy with this. The more I shoot it, the better I get with it, and it's something that I know that I can trust my life to. This is probably my primary home defense weapon. As much as I'd like to say the AR pistol is, this one is going to be faster and easier to get to and quicker to get into action in a home defense type scenario. Hopefully something like that doesn't ever happen, but if it does, this is going to be the first thing I'm reaching for. It's got a very bright, very effective Streamlight TLR1 HL on here. And with the Red Dot, I don't have to worry about shooting in the dark, having to be able to pick up iron sights in the dark, something like that. I can just see that dot through the window. I've got a light. This is a very, very effective tool for home defense now. And I really do recommend it. The more experience I get with the Red Dot, the more I think that it's almost a must. And really at this point, any future pistols I buy, I'm going to put a Red Dot on, except maybe like 1911s, because I just feel like they just look too good in the classic form that they're in to mill out and mount a Red Dot. But just about anything else, any other polymer striker fired pistols that I might get, they're going to have dots on them, because we have the technology. We might as well use it. It really does make a difference. You can be target, threat focused. You can, as long as you practice, every time you present, that dot is going to come into the screen, 2 eyes open shooting. Your dot is going to lay right on your target. You can be extremely accurate and extremely fast with it. And that's what you want to be able to be with your handgun, is fast and accurate. So I absolutely recommend the Red Dot. I've been extremely happy with it. If you haven't tried one, borrow a friend that has a Red Dot pistol, or just bite the bullet, or dive in like I did. Spend the money, mill your slide, get an optic, practice, and train with it, and you will be very happy with it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My experience that I have with the Red Dot has, I've grown very fond of it. I really enjoy shooting with it. I kind of love shooting this pistol more than my others at this point because of the optic on it. It just makes you feel confident when you see that dot on your target, and I highly recommend it. It will be something that I put on probably all my pistols in the future. So please subscribe to the channel. Please like, comment, share these videos. Check out my Amazon affiliate link down below. I will have a link to this exact optic. You can get it on Amazon for a great price. And if you do, I get a small commission, little kickback, helps the channel. I also have a link to my Patreon down below if you want to join that. Any amount that you pledge is greatly appreciated. Helps pay for things like new firearms, ammo, gas to get to the range, and helps me to grow this channel, bring you guys more awesome content. I hope you enjoyed it. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped. So I'll be the first to admit that I have more experience with iron sights. I think that's the way that everyone should learn how to shoot a pistol or even a rifle. And you can be plenty accurate with irons just as well. Or maybe not. There goes my light.